Creators can still make money in this economy. How do I know? Because this guy just gave us a blueprint. I mean, he just raised $425 million, so we got to talk about it. So in this content corner, we're going to break down the blueprint and how it applies to us creators. And we're going to talk about brand deals. Should you leverage opportunities or should you go get the check? And we're going to talk about how to monetize AI. So let's get into it. Steven Bartlett, $425 million that he can build the next Disney, but for creators, okay? Now, which is really weird in a world where AI is replacing a lot of things. And so, of course, when we're thinking about creating content and working with brands and that whole nine, creators aren't necessarily on top of the list, supposedly. Steven Bartlett says that's not the case over here. Now, if you don't know who Steven Bartlett is the host of The Diary of a CEO. 13.6 million subscribers on YouTube alone. Okay? Now, he dropped, and I think this is it, he dropped this video and he broke down the $425 million. Where's that go to? Why is he calling it Steven.com, which sounds very self-centered? It's the complete opposite of what brands are doing, where they don't want to be the face of the brand. Steven Bartlett is like, hey, it starts with me. There's going to be a whole bunch of other creators, but it starts with me.
You've probably seen some headlines that my company, Steven.com, was valued at $425 million, and the articles and headlines don't really say much. Steven.com. Okay, first question. Why did you name the company after yourself? The reason why it's called Steven.com is because our entire thesis is about the individual. It's about the individual creator, and this switch from institutions that have ruled the world to individual creators like you and me in our bedrooms. It's not a production company, it's just me distributing directly to my audience. That is the central idea of our thesis, and so this company should represent that. It's worth saying, I am the first creator in Steven.com, but I'm not the only. There'll be hundreds of creators, much like Disney built a franchise off original IP when he drew that picture of Mickey the Mouse, and then it became so much more. I mean, Disney owned so much in the entertainment industry.
Who knew Disney had all of this? Okay? Disney has Fox, National Geographic, ESPN, Marvel, Hulu, Lifetime, A&E, History, Lucasfilm, Pixar. They have a lot of stuff. Okay? Now, I knew, let's say, majority of it, but I did not know like National Geographics and A&E. I definitely didn't know A&E. I didn't know that one. Okay. However, right, let's go back to him starting with himself and how it's still a big deal. So if we go and look at his stats, just off YouTube, that he has the top podcast period in audio and video. Now, looking at that, he has the blueprint of, I know how to get up here. It builds trust. So when we look at, okay, he built something that's called Steven.com. Do I name something as myself? Will that mean anything? Like, that was a big gamble, and we have to see how that plays out. But I'm not mad at naming the brand his name, because it instantly builds trust. He has huge credibility off of what he's built, not only from the media side of his podcast and his personal brand, but it also builds trust from his ventures, because he has a whole bunch of things that he's invested in. So if you want to trust me that I know what I'm doing, let me be the front person. Let me not play the back. Let me play the front person, right? So I wanted to add some context to that. But this is what he's trying to create, but from a creator standpoint. So meaning he is probably replacing himself as Disney, right? It'll be Steven. And then Steven will have a whole bunch of different creators and their own ventures, which is smart, which is absolutely smart. Now, let's keep going.
Your mind. So all of these companies you see here are owned by Disney. They are a platform. And in the same way, I see Steven.com as a platform. And this is how the platform looks. There's really three components to it. The first pillar of this platform in Steven.com is creator media, where we take creators, we scale their media, we commercialize their media, we expand their reach and fan engagement, and we build a world around them, and we commercialize that world. Much like Disney did with Mickey the Mouse, where he created this mouse and then he built this entire...
All right. So, does he have the ability to take another creator and get them popping on YouTube, get them popping on podcasts, get them popping on TikTok, Instagram, all of these different platforms? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because he's created a machine. There are things that you are doing that you should be taking note, documenting, because you can help the next person do that. And you could be creating a platform, like he calls it, that will help other creators, other entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs, if you are still working a 9-to-5 and using that, however you may call yourself, you are going to be able to help the next person by documenting. And that's what he's done. And now he's applying it to a business structure. So let's keep it moving.
Entire IP ecosystem around this mouse, merchandise, products, experiences, movies, and then he commercialized it. We do the same for the modern creator. The next part is...
Let's not skim through that. They build a character, Disney built a character, and they built merch around it, movies around it, experiences around it. So you are the character, or even if you create a character, how are you monetizing it in different ways, right? Not just content, but the content then can be something physical. Then it could be an experience, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, right? Whether you make a high production movie, not necessarily movie, but content, right? Where you put it behind a paywall and people will want to see maybe behind the scenes stuff, maybe a documentary of your stuff, maybe certain docu-series or a certain type of series. This is how he is thinking about it. You feel what I'm saying? So let's keep going.
Creator ventures. And so one of the great things that creators are able to do is they're able to launch and scale brands. And if you know me and if you followed me, you'll know that there's several brands that I'm now a co-owner of, things like this one here, Ketone IQ, which we talked about in a previous Diary of a CEO episode. But there's so many more. I mean, my team will throw some of them up on the screen.
So this is the importance of building an audience still till this day and next year, okay? Because of the audience that he has built, because of the brand that he has built, he has attracted other brands that want to work with him, want to partner with him, right? So he's a partner with Whoop and Perfect Ted, Cadence, Huel, Zoe, and Ketone IQ, right? These are all brands that have been like, I would love for you to work with us. I want you to partner with us. I'm going to give you equity on our stuff. That's the type of time I want to be on. If that's the type of time you want to be on going into 2026, going into the new year, right? Depending on when you're watching this. Hey, give me some equity. Once I get some type of audience, give me some equity. Type in me. You feel me? So he's looking at, okay, I got my media side taken care of. I built the audience. Now it's time for me to partner with other people so I can get still another stream of revenue. Because if the media side, I don't want to put all my eggs in the basket with the media side, but I have the audience. So let's work it out, right? I say that because hello, 2026, brands who want to partner from an equity side of things. Let's partner. Let's not do brand deals. Boo, boo, boo. Let's partner. I'm here for you. Okay? And you have a whole bunch of creators in the chat that want to do the same thing. You feel me? They the same thing. In the comments, want to do the same thing. Hello. You feel me? All right. So let's keep it moving. So, but you see the flow to it, right? You see where, okay, my media side got to be good. My distribution has to be good. Some of the things from a monetizing standpoint, based off the content that I'm doing from, okay, you learned me from here. Now I'm doing merch. Now I'm doing experiences. Now I'm doing community, all of that. That's taken care of so I can attract bigger brands, and then we can get into that. Okay? So let's keep it going. Let's see what else he got.
What we do with this creator media, this reach and engagement, is we help creators to launch and scale their own ventures. And the last part of this is probably my favorite part, which is creator community. One of the things that shifts when attention shifts is how people gather in the real world. Creators are going to be much of the center point of IRL experiences. My friend MrBeast called me.
Oh, let me pause on that. I keep screaming this over and over again, okay? Build a community. I'm going to be completely a hundo with you. These algorithms suck. Bad, and you know it. And so to be able to leverage the media that we're putting out to create a community, not only is it the heart of your brand, shout out to Lions Behavior, shout out to my channel members, right? Not only is it the heart of your brand, but it is going to be the reason why your brand lasts longer than these social media platforms. Okay? So even for myself, when he's talking about these in real life experiences, even myself, Lions Behavior is about to do something in person in February, right? Shout out to everybody who's part of the Lions Behavior community. If you're not, I'll tell you about it later. And I'm an introvert. So in person, kind of like, oh no, kind of freaks me out. But at the same time, I'm understanding that, one, there are a whole bunch of other introverts and ambiverts that don't want to go outside like that unless it's for a true reason. Like they still need to gather. Two, more and more, I am relying too much on the algorithm to make sure that my community sees my content, and it needs to stop, right? And if you're in that same type of mindset, let me know too. Like, you've been building a brand and you've relied too much on the algorithm to be like, yo, I'm coming out with something, or hey, I did this, or I did this. There's different things that we can do to stop relying on the algorithm and build our community. First way, like said, is an email list. Now, let me be honest. There are some people that are like, yeah, I heard you with the email list, but I don't necessarily like to write. I hear you, right? I hear you. However, it's important. There are things like kit.com, Substack, Beehive. There are different ways to set up an email system to get your people off social media into a list that at least that you could talk to bi-weekly or monthly. I have Content Corner, right? Literally the name of this show. I have a newsletter called Content Corner where every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern that I drop some of the things that are happening during the week, whether it is from AI, from social media, some type of branding stuff. Every week I'm dropping something and it's value pack. Do I struggle with that? Sometimes I do, but it is about the system that you have. AI is going to be a lifesaver for those who don't like to write newsletters, okay? Who don't like to write, period. Talk to it and tell it to break it down into bullet points and small paragraphs based off of your voice. There's no reason that you can't do a newsletter, okay? There's no reason. The only reason that we struggle with any type of content is overthinking and a high standard that we have for our own selves. We need to get out of our own way. That's a later conversation. We're going back into this blueprint. But email is one, right? 2, having your own community. Now, I have my community, Lions Behavior, on Heartbeat. I've tried Mighty Networks. We've done Circle. We've done Facebook groups. I heard Facebook groups are coming back to life. However, Facebook groups, you do not own the audience. It is still on Facebook's algorithm and system. So though it is free, you do not own that information. Okay? If you were trying to go free, go to Substack. Okay? Substack is free. You can do a newsletter. It has a social media component in there too. Do that. Facebook groups, y'all know how I feel about that. Here is an amazing example of what Steven Bartlett is trying to build. And he's talking to MrBeast. Now, let me keep this back to realistic life. We can aim for goals of MrBeast, but we have to give ourselves some grace. Okay? We have to give ourselves some grace. What MrBeast is about to show us and what he's doing, and I geeked out a little bit about it, like less than the 1% is going to be able to do this. Okay? So, but we can learn from this as far as like the experience wise. This is why I want to share it. So, Lego.
When we did our announcement a couple of days ago, MrBeast just texted me, by the way. Hello.
It's you fundraising.
And he explained to me that he is building Beast Land.
Next month, I don't know if you're in the Middle East or anything, but we're opening a theme park. The whole point of Beast Land is you download an app that tracks your points. You have a wristband with an RFID chip, and it's essentially the largest arcade in the world. We're custom building all of this.
This is fucking crazy. And the minute
So right there, I geeked out. I literally geeked out, okay? Let me explain why. He created a theme park over in Saudi Arabia, right? Everything's happening over there. He created a theme park, but it's not just a theme park. You get a wristband, you have an app, you play the games. It's super gamified. You track everything on this app. It creates a whole different experience than just going on the different rides. It totally embodies his brand. If you are very familiar with MrBeast, he is known for doing these like game show videos where he gets a whole bunch of challengers to do different obstacles, and he literally created a land He created a spot for that and created an interactive experience, which would allow him to be different than, let's say, other theme parks. Because if he was just to get into that situation of like, okay, I'm going to create a theme park. Okay, well, you're going against the big dogs. You feel what I'm saying? So how is that going to work? Well, I'm going to do something different. And I think low key, he got that from Universal Studios, the Epic Universe joint, because they started something like that, but only in one park, like one side of the park. He did it for the whole park. I think he's onto something. But let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
He said it, I was so shook, as you'll probably see from some of the visuals.
It's wild, man.
You're really doing it. That was so sick.
Oh my god, this is my favorite game I've created. So proud of it. Isn't that fucking cool?
I'm so shook. I'm so shook.
Because it's perfectly aligned with our thesis. Creators will be the new Disneyland. They'll be the new Glastonbury's. They will build huge IRL communities and online communities around them and their IP. Because even with a brand like...
I'm going to stay there. This is so true. We're actually, I don't know how many people are following the fitness and wellness world. We're actually seeing this in the fitness world, where certain brands are now turning into IRL experiences. And so for creators, including myself, but for you, yes, it starts with online, for sure. But especially in the world of AI, how are we creating our own world? Ultimately, I'm just going to be very transparent about my journey. Ultimately, I want to create a safe space for creators and entrepreneurs to focus on their creator wellness, right? Where we're focusing on being sustainable and not burn out, to be able to create, but to be able to be whole as well, right? Focus on our movement, focus on our learning, focus on taking breaks and breathing, focus on connecting with other people. I want to create that safe world for people, right? For you, what type of world are you wanting to create? And if you don't have that answer, take some time. Absolutely take some time. But if you already know that, what is the world that you are trying to create? What is let's keep it going.
The Diary of a CEO. So that translates really well into IRL experiences. And we've already started doing that. You've probably seen that the Diary of a CEO is now streaming in cinemas all across the world. I'll throw some images on the screen of that. It's going to be really, really central to the creator economy. And lastly, and maybe the most important elements of this.
That was a really good example from a more realistic standpoint. So we saw the big MrBeast Land, okay? I'm not saying that's not reachable, but this one may be a little bit more reachable sooner. Meaning, how can we get our content series, the contents that we've been building and creating weekly, monthly, daily, how can we get it in the theaters and bring the community together, right? How can we even think about it from a different standpoint? How do we create a nostalgic feel, right, with the theaters, or maybe even a different experience? How can we create a nostalgic feel back to our audience and present our content in that kind of way, right? Because people love a nostalgic feel, hands down, okay? But that's what he did. Okay, I'm not thinking about conferences or anything like that. I'm thinking about, how do I bring people to the theaters to watch my podcast? Because that's all he did. How do I bring people to watch my podcast in the theaters? That's fire. I think that's fire. All right, let's keep going.
It's going to be really, really central to the creator economy. All of this works together as this flywheel, but all of it is supported by 2 layers of infrastructure. I'm going to call this creator technology. And if you've seen some other headlines, we've launched the world's first video-first AI-driven podcast hosting platform. And we have lots more tools which we'll be announcing shortly.
This is where we have to take our vision a little bit higher, okay? Where, yes, we may start with content. We may do some brand deals and partnerships and that whole nine. We may build a community, but there is something that we are doing that can turn into software. Okay? So my LB community has heard this, but there's 4 stages that I'm doing with Lions Behavior. There's building the community. Then there's going to be experiences, which is starting next year. Then there's going to be software, and then there's going to be wearables, right? So the software is going to go based off of the systems and the habits that we've been doing. And I'm saying this from a standpoint of there are certain systems that people could benefit from. And it can start, right, with like a custom GPT. You could build that out to build out, quote unquote, the software just to test things out. The money from a creator standpoint has to deal with technology. Right? You want to think about, I need to scale myself and the systems and the routines and all of the things that I'm doing. So for him, if he's mastered podcasting, and one of the biggest things that he's good at is collecting the data, making the clips, and his whole system of how to identify different ideas and different patterns based off of his audience, then he's going to make a software to give to others, because I'm doing it already. I'm already spending money on these systems. Then I might as well flip it and make money off of it to help other people do the same thing. Because at a certain point, for most creators, entrepreneurs, it's not a matter of how long you stay on top. It's a matter of who comes under you, meaning who are you building? Because then that truly shows how dope you are. Who are you building to be the next one, to be the next top entrepreneur, top creator, top music artist, top producer, top actor, top whatever your thing is, your niche is, right? Because if I get them on a certain platform, now, once again, I'm not relying on the algorithm. I'm not relying on other people's platforms. I cut the middleman, right? So his thought process is, once again, media, ventures, community, and then creator technology. So how are we starting to expand our vision to get into technology? Okay, so let's keep it going.
Form this technology layer. And the last piece, maybe the most important piece, is our data platform, because we are able to see, analyze, and collect so much really interesting data from this whole ecosystem here that informs our decisions to be able to support creators better, drive their media better, improve their IP, build ventures with them, and get their communities IRL.
All right. So take a screenshot of this, because this is a rough draft of the blueprint, okay? However, I made it look pretty for you. I got it look pretty. Shout out to Notebook LM. I don't know how many of y'all do this, but they've been on fire, dog. They've been on fire. Notebook LM created this, okay? Notebook LM created this. You can see it right there on the bottom. Notebook LM. But everything that we saw, plus some of the articles that I saw, it created all of this. But that flywheel that he was talking about, right here, take a screenshot. Make sure you put this on your stories. You know what I mean? This is what we're going to need to remember. The creator media, the megaphone, the ventures, which is our empire, the creator community, right, which is the kingdom, and then the technology and data. Okay? Because low key, and it's from a business mind, the money is in the data. If we think about how these social media platforms are thriving and make so much money, I'm talking about millions and billions of dollars. It goes because they have data. They know who's on their platform, where they live, what they like, what they don't like, how they buy, what they don't buy, right? The data, people make so much money if they become a data company. But that's down the line. I wanted to share this slide in particular because it's two different worlds, right? Where it's like the creator community, and it says transform a passive audience into an active community. An audience doesn't just consume IP, they belong into it. There is not necessarily just people, but a movement when you are being intentional about community. We seek ways to feel like we belong. With AI, with social media, it's hard to connect with people. This picture right here, this slide right here, shows belonging. So in the picture on the left, where he's on stage and everybody's cheering him on, is not necessarily about him on stage. It's about the community feeling like they belong to a moment. And that's the whole point. Like these in-person and virtual like events that you may do, you're making people feel like they belong to that moment, and no one else besides those people who were in that room or who were in that webinar or in that Zoom room, only they know what happened. So there's a sense of, I was there for it. There's a sense of pride for it. There's a sense of like, yo, no one else is doing this. You need to do that. Give that same feeling to your community. You need to do that same feeling of belonging, of FOMO, of no one else got this but us. No one else is a big part of this but us. You have to make sure other people feel that way. The same way that, like for me, I wear Nipsey's joint, right? It makes me feel like, okay, I'm going to keep, marathon continues. Cool. The thing with my hat, like I feel every single time that I wear my hat, I always feel like, yo, I'm about to create something that's going to be super impactful. I'm about to create something that is going to be out of this world, right? And this is what your merch or your products or your events should make other people feel. You feel what I'm saying? So if we was to break down what we just saw with Steven Bartlett and his whole move of creating the Walt Disney for creators, he breaks it down in a sense of become the franchise. Your primary job is to build a world-class, compelling IP that people love. Okay? You yourself is the IP, but also the content that you're creating, the brands that you're creating, right? Content Corner is one of those things for me. Lion's Behavior is one of those things for me. Second, how are we going to focus on building our audience? Audience building is huge. We have to own our audience and not allow YouTube to only have our audience. I love YouTube. I love YouTube. Listen, I love YouTube. Y'all know we're almost at 50,000 subs. I love YouTube. But YouTube could go down and I won't have half of you guys. I have some of you guys because some of y'all went to Lion's Behavior. I can't really stand Instagram. But that's another story. But we still there. But I love YouTube. But this is why, okay, from a free standpoint, at least join the newsletter. That's in the description. From a paid standpoint, please join Lion's Behavior. We got some really dope stuff there. Turn your ideas into content with Draft Loop. We have an amazing call every single week. We're doing in-person experiences next year. You just got to be in the community. That's it. You know what I mean? So own your community in some way, shape, or form. Then construct your ecosystem. That is the big situation. And I love using Nipsey as an example when it comes to the ecosystem, because it started with his music, right? And so for you, it could start with your content. But then it went into clothing. Then it went into burgers. Then it went into now it went into wheels and cars now. And I'm gonna show you that in a little bit. All right. He built a whole ecosystem. And then of course he has a nonprofit standpoint. But if he was still alive, he would be intentional with building like Apple and bikes too. Yep. And if we think about Apple, y'all know their whole ecosystem is crazy. Okay. Like I could I could look at something and then I can share it to my iPad, or I could share it to my Mac, share it to my laptop, right? I could stream on Apple TV. Like their ecosystem, you're going to want to buy the next product so it could work well with what you have, right? You're going to want to get the AirPods, and you're going to want to get any other little accessories to make the whole ecosystem work. If you got the phone, you probably got Apple Music, you know what I mean? Apple TV, and I heard Apple TV has some really good content now. It's a whole thing. We look at brands like Apple, then you have to look at how do we create it for creators? How do we create it for one of like us, whether a creator, entrepreneur, business owner, however you want to identify yourself? How we look at these big brands, like how he did for Disney, and how do we recreate that, right? And then, of course, last thing, the data and technology side of things. You feel me? The data and technology side of things. Let me show you a brand that, regardless, is still going without the creator, right? Of course, we got to talk about Nip. We got to talk about Nip, all right? They're still doing brand deals. They're still doing deals today. We're doing car shows. They made a bulletproof Honda, which now I want. Now I want a new Honda. I got a Honda and I'm like, maybe it's time to upgrade. Nah, they made a bulletproof. Now I don't need a bulletproof. People love me, so I have no problem with people. They're not going to try to hurt me. But they did a deal. Let me see if I can play a little bit of it. There's Black Sam right there, who is Nipsey's brother, who's really the reason why this is still going. So though we know Nip from music, from concerts, from even clothing, my man passed a bit ago and he's still being very relevant. This is the LA Auto Show, right? And he came out with new merch, new car wheels, and a new bulletproof system, right? This is the point of building the empire. This is the point of not only just stopping, he could have just stopped with music, right? But he continued to grow from music to different products and different ventures, right? Building the community. And it shows not only from an empire standpoint, but this lasts after one passes. That's the point. Like, how long can your name last? So when we're thinking about Steven Bartlett, his name is going to last because of what he is building. Nipsey's name still lasts because what he's built and what his brother has built. And also it goes based off the team as well. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, so those are the wheels. Oh, I think we can talk now.
Giotto, we are to it with the LA Auto Show, partnered up with Forge Giotto, and we got every slice and dice of color that you want. You got the vitamin C, you got the rose gold, you got the candy apple red, you got the all black gloss.
So Marathon now has rims. Now, look at this. These are bulletproof cars. Bulletproof cars.
Ain't official, man. We also got the Jeep Trackhawk with the V package. We also got the Honda with the V package as well.
They got the Honda. You know what I mean? They got the Honda. I'm just saying. I'd get the Honda.
And you got the Marathon Forge Yellows on each and every last one of them. You got bulletproof from front to back.
They about to make me redo my Honda. You know what I mean? They're about to make me redo my Honda. But like I said, I'm sharing this because this was literally posted 8 hours ago. Okay? 8 hours ago. They have a run club. Okay? Their brand, the Marathon Burger is in Complex Con, which is a big, big event for the culture. They're at BET Awards. I was there. Okay? They have iShowSpeed, which is one of the biggest streamers. I think he won Streamer of the Year. Yeah, I think he won Streamer of the Year. Biggest streamer. Eating at Marathon Burger. So staying relevant to the culture through this. Crazy. All because of this exact blueprint. This exact blueprint. What is the media that you're creating, right? For Nip, that was music. For Steven Bartlett, that was the podcast, right? What are the creator ventures that you're doing? So those rims, that's one, right? Vector 99, when he had that was one. Puma, that's another one, right? For Steven Bartlett, that's Whoop or Wop, the wearable joint. That's Perfect Ted. That's Stan, right? That's what else? Huel, and all the other things all the other businesses that they're building. Creator community. building their community, got that on lock. Technology and data. Before, Nip had the store, which had, you know, the you scanned the tag and then boom, music came up, right? Steven Bartlett, he has Flightcast, which is his podcast software, collecting all of the data. Super fire, right? So this, take a screenshot, because this is the blueprint regardless of what AI is doing or not. Because even if, and I'm pointing at this like you can see my finger, this is wild, right? But even if that technology and data part, you can't knock that there are some AI stuff that is in that part of your brand. There's, when it comes to Flightcast, which was Steven Bartlett's podcast platform, he has AI features in there. So you're able to clip the podcast with AI. You're able to analyze the insights with AI. Yes, we're going to need AI to clip up these clips, to make the captions, to get the quotes, that whole nine, right? To make the images with Nano Banana, which is killing it. Actually, I'll show you something. So actually, we saw Nano Banana do the slides and all of that. But when we look at even the background of this thumbnail, that was created through Nano Banana. This was an infographic, all because I gave it a link, and now I'm able to provide value to my audience that they don't have to watch the whole video. They can get kind of an understanding of what it is through the infographic that I can put into my newsletter. You see how we're coming all the way back? You feel me? So, yes, AI is here. AI is not going to replace those people who are building this flywheel that is going to allow us to have a creator empire. Okay? So yes, it starts with our content, and we have to get a good groove with our content because we have to build our audience. And then when we build our audience, then we have to think about who are we partnering with. And with that, I want to show you a video that was very interesting about partnering and brand deals.
Dude, I was a brand ambassador for MLB, bro. MLB reaches out and they're like, we're starting this creator class. We love you. You're a sports guy. We would love to have you. This is what we're thinking of doing. We want you to create, I think it was like 22 videos throughout the year. You're going to go to games. We're going to fly you to All-Star Week, World Series, events, whatever, right? Baseball related. But we only have $12,000 for you. 20-something videos, bro. I think it was 12,000 or 20,000. I forget what it was, right? And I'm like, 20-something videos for $12,000 or $20,000? Bro, that doesn't make sense. You're paying me basically like $500 a video, bro, when I'm making top dollar working with these brands, and you're MLB. And I was like, I got to think about this. And I think my bid was like, I had told them like 80 grand, bro. So they're like, oh, take it or leave it. Like, it's on the table. If not, like, let us know. Moving on to the next creator. I talked to my management. I'm like, bro, like, how does this make sense? Like, this guy kind of taking advantage of like creators, you know? Like, he's like, Jay, but it's MLB. You know how great that looks on your resume? I'm like, yeah, but like,
For pennies?
for pennies? I ended up doing it. And it was the most money I ever made in a year because I built the relationship with MLB and they introduced me to all their sponsors.
Have I done this? I'm currently doing it. Currently. With one of the big three. That's all I can say. With one of the big three. Okay? And I don't regret it at all. I do not regret it at all. That's not to say do not know your worth. That's not to say that. We have to think smart when it comes to these different opportunities. Now, do I have brand deals that do pay? Absolutely. Absolutely. As we are growing this audience, so we're talking about building the brand, building the empire, getting into those business ventures, relationships, partnerships. But let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. There are some small brands that we can make some money with, right? That clearly see the audience that you have been building. Absolutely. Those are the ones that, okay, let's make a deal of some way, shape, or form. But when we're talking about big brands, don't feel ashamed to say, yo, just put me in the game, coach. Just put me in the game. No problem with it. And I do, and I will continue to do, because it builds relationships that has built amazing opportunities. I say all that because you have to pick what's going to be. I go from this. If I can learn something from you, if I can gain opportunities from you, I don't mind doing it for free. I don't mind that. That's not, now granted, I don't lead with that like, hey, don't pay me. Don't ever lead with that. Don't ever do that. Okay? Don't do that. Don't. But I don't mind if I can learn something, because the amount of things that I can learn from it and how I can flip it, hands down, easy. And the opportunities based off of the network that person has, or that brand has, that company has, absolutely. Boom, right? And then, especially if it's something that you use, see if you could get it for free. Bare minimum. Hey, I don't mind doing. Could I get this for free? Could I get this for free? Could I get this membership for free? You know what I mean? So, boom. But if those two ain't there, oh, there's got to be a check. When we're showing this dude, right, a creator who was probably making a lot of money before MLB with his content, with the sports content that he was creating, if he knows how to leverage and monetize. Now he has the head honcho. Hey, I create content about this. Now the head honcho came through. I could give you something. I can't give you what you're asking for, but I could give you something. Hey, that's better than nothing. For sure, because I know how to leverage. If you know how to leverage, making money is not going to be a problem. And leverage in different ways, meaning, do you know how to leverage your reach? Do you know how to leverage your comments? Do you know how to leverage your followers? Do you know how to leverage your email list? Do you know how to leverage the community that you have? Because if you know how to work that leverage system, even in that type of ecosystem, then when we're getting to the brand deals and the partnerships and everything, then that kind of makes sense of, oh, I know exactly how to leverage this. Because I've already built this over here, I can leverage this for them. I can leverage it, and that makes them feel valued, and they'll stay even more. Because my community is a subscription base. I need them to stay. You feel what I'm saying? I need them to chill and feel seen and heard. The only way I could do that is what I'm going to be doing on the outside world, leverage that, bring them access, bring them different insights, give them different things that they can't get anywhere else. Boom. If I can't make what I'm making over here, what I really want to make, if I want to make the 4, 5, 6 figure brand deal, okay, cool. How can I leverage it so I could help my people? If I can help my people, we can make this work. Because at the end of the day, the leverage is always going to make money. You know what I'm saying? The leverage is always going to make money. What you learn is going to make you money. The opportunities is going to make you money. The reach, if you know how to play it right, is going to make you money. The comments is going to make you money. Because if I tell you on my Instagram joint, hey, comment live, cool. You come on my live. I don't know how many of y'all came from my Instagram post. You come onto my live, then you may feel, Nikki's giving mad value. Cool. I'll give her a super sticker, a super chat. I may join her channel members, or I may join Lions Behavior because I know how this algorithm works, and I'm going to get off YouTube and support Nikki even more. That's how I just leveraged Instagram comments. That's how you have to think of things. Everything that you create, how are you leveraging? Like every type of content that you make, how are you leveraging? There's not a piece of content that you put out that should have no goals, no intentions. Can I talk about one more thing that I should have talked about in the first part? How do we monetize these AI tools, right? How do we monetize these AI tools? And I want to go over this real quick, real quick, because my whole thing is not necessarily to focus on the money, but for you to understand how, once again, leverage and how to flip it in certain ways, right? So when we're thinking about, because I have a few things written down, right? If we're just starting, right? If we're just starting, cool. I learned how to create content with AI. I learned how to do the AI twin. I learned how to do a newsletter. I figured out the workflow. I used Poppy AI. I used certain custom GPTs. I knew what to do. Cool. At any point, you could create this as a service. At any point, if you want to do that. Now, I'm not a big fan of service-based. I've done service-based. I'm not a fan. It's not for me. But it's for a lot of other people, right? To where, okay, I use Opus Clip. I can clip up to 20 things, and I know how to like modify it just a little bit to make it stand out a bit. I can do that for other people. And if I get paid a certain amount, that will allow me to increase my subscription to maybe enterprise or unlimited. And then I can do that for multiple people. Low key, anything that you do, you could turn into a custom GPT. With custom GPTs, you can make that into private. Okay? So like, actually, I can show you better. I can tell you. I can show you better. I can tell you. Let me show you. So for those people who don't know what custom GPTs are, those are like, it's a chat GPT that's completely dedicated to the task, right? So like I have one called Draft Loop, okay? Let's hear it. So everybody in Lions Behavior has this custom GPT. So when you're thinking about how do I monetize ChatGPT, you turn the information that you have, your process, your workflow that you have into a custom GPT. Okay? And so the way that you do that, you go to Explore. There's going to be a create button up top. Okay? So you hit create, and it's going to look something like this. You could create a custom GPT just by talking to it, right? Or you can manually do it if you want more control. Okay? But once you create your custom GPT, all right, you get a link to it. You can share it with only you, right? And this is only for like your personal internal stuff. Or you can share it with anyone who has the link. This is where the monetizing side comes in, right? Because you could sell this link to other people. This is why it's good to have a newsletter, right? Or email list. Because with that, okay, I have the right system to turn your ideas. All you got to do is talk to it, and it's going to break it down into different content ideas, different business ideas, what you're missing, and it's going to walk you through everything that you're going to need to create content for that whole week or that whole month, right? Boom, people are like, would love to have that. You put a price point on that. Cool. You could sell that custom GPT. Or what I did, I have this amazing system called Draft Loop. I give you the custom GPT and I give you videos on how to do the custom GPT. You just got to join Lions Behavior. People are like, bet, I need that. I need to know exactly how I turn my thoughts into content ideas, into business ideas, and the actual tools that is going to allow me to turn this into reality. Say less. Let me get into Lions Behavior. Cool. So, and you could create a GPT about anything. Okay? Anything that people ask you questions about, make a GPT about it. Okay? I don't care if your brand has to deal with motivation, entertainment, or education. If people ask you questions about it, boom, create a custom GPT about it. When you create a custom GPT, 9 out of 10 times people are not going to know what to do with it unless you instruct them. So what I did, 5 videos that goes along with the custom GPT, right? So if I go here, now that we know our creative mode, what exactly are we going to be creating? Like, how do you may be really good at typing. Hold on. So this was me brainstorming today. So boom, I'm not going to show you all of it. But I show you the process of, okay, here's how you journal. This is where you're going to put it just for a central location, right? And then boom, put it into the custom GPT. And you're going to be having all these different content ideas, business ideas, what's missing in your brand, that whole nine. And then I tell you what tools to turn it into an image, turn into a video, turn into written content, which you don't get just with the custom GPT alone. Showing you this, one, to show the process of if I create something, what is the added value that I can put that people will pay for this custom GPT, right? Cool. Next thing, low key, Notion AI and Notion templates, y'all need to start taking that a little bit more serious. Okay? The reason why I say that is because people just want a system. People want the template. Now, the messed up part about it is they gonna get these templates and not really use them. They'll use it for a few days and then not really use it. But the fact that you have created a plug and play system for them, right, that has AI enabled in it, they're going to buy it. Notion templates actually make a lot of money. Low key. You know what I mean? You just gave me an idea on how to sell access to my GPT. That's my whole point of this live.